Good afternoon and welcome back to Trading Options Network. So we've had a pretty bullish run last week to finish the week off at least, and I'm really was interested in seeing what the market was going to do today. But before we get into anything, as always, let's go ahead and get rid of our disclaimer here. As always, again, everything that we discuss is solely my opinion, not the opinion of Trading Options Network. So take what you will from this, and I hope you learned something. That being said, we have moved higher today. We gapped up at the start of the day, and for a while we didn't do much of anything. I mean, it was literally just about as neutral as you can get. And then if I pull up the economic calendar here, we had the Richmond Fed president speak. We had the New York Fed president speak. And then at about that time, if I go ahead, I'm just going to pull up the 3-minute chart here. So let's say they started talking right in this area right here. Okay. And yeah, it did go down a little bit at first, but then it's done nothing but, run up a little bit. And I'm assuming they are done speaking at this point, starting to retrace a little bit. And chances are, there's a good chance that we will finish back at, very close to where we opened the day at. So what does this mean? Well, on Saturday during the end of week recap, I was saying that, I was questioning, hey, are we going to go ahead and ride the momentum that we had these last 2 days? And then, continue to move higher? Are we going to bounce off of the 50-day moving average and then go lower? Or are we going to be, relatively neutral overall? Well, I would say it's definitely either we're going to continue to ride the momentum up or we're going to be relatively neutral. Now, today is green. I get it. It's gapped up and it did go up even more throughout the day, but it's such a small range. I mean, we're literally talking a range from 513 to 515. That is very, very small. If I were to pull up the ATR, which stands for average true range, I guarantee it's more than a couple of bucks. But that being said, we can't ignore the fact that it did gap up and continue to move up just a little bit throughout the day. Now, I think there's a good chance that we are going to be a little bit more neutral over the next week. So we might see a little bit of a gap down, a small red bar, and kind of, just consolidate for a little bit before the market really decides what to do. And again, as I've been saying, I still think that 480 price target right around that area anyways is my target for this pullback. I think we are just in a little bit of it's hard to say gosh, well, I can't even think of the term. That's literally how hard it is to say it. But I think we're just in a little bit of an exaggerated bear rally. But it's really hard to say a bear rally because I really don't think we're actually in a bear trend. I mean, for the very, very, for 2.5 weeks, you could say we were in a slight bear trend. But that's not a bear trend. That's just a bullish pullback. That's all it is. It's just a pullback. And I think a healthy pullback will be down to the 480 level. Now this bounce, again, we had a lot of big companies report their earnings over the last couple of weeks. So I think that has a lot to do with why we had a pretty exaggerated bounce here. But I do still, in my opinion, think this is a bounce. I think we might even be trapping some bulls here. Bulls are going to be getting excited saying, oh, yeah, we're done with this little, bear, market or, pullback or whatever you want to call it. And I think a lot of a lot of bulls are going to end up getting trapped because, again, I do think we roll over and continue to move down a little bit lower before we actually can safely start moving higher in this market. But again, time will tell. I have no idea what's going to happen. Nobody does. So, again, I'm playing a pretty neutral portfolio right now. My portfolio is green today because a lot of my bulls are green and a lot of my bears are, red. So I'm liking that quite a bit. But that being said, take a look at some of the headlines that came out today. The S&P 500 ETF Trust experiences big outflow. It's looking more and more like stagflation. The rallying S&P 500 may just be a consolidating overall downward trend. Citadel's CEO Ken Griffin says service inflation is concerning and is more likely to persist. Sentiment speaks. The end of objectivity and market analysis, and potentially the bull run too. Buffett holding record cash and sells Apple. Here is how much cash you should hold. So, needless to say, these aren't exactly, the best headlines to be seen. And it's been all day. So who knows what's going to happen. Again, I still think we're going to be seeing more of a pullback than what we have seen. The economic calendar for this week is relatively, simple. There's not a whole lot coming out this week, so that shouldn't be doing much. Earnings calendar, let's see, I have it on this Friday, but let's see, Monday, today, we have quite a few companies. No massive companies. They're all done. The Apples, the Googles, the Microsofts, all of them, they're all done. But we do have quite a few companies tonight that are going to be reporting earnings. Again, unless they're all, one direction, if they're all bullish or they're all bearish, they're all good, they're all bad. I don't think this is going to have much of an impact on the market overall, but we'll see what happens. Tomorrow, we have quite a few in the morning, including Disney. Disney's probably, I think that's the biggest company. Oh, Toyota. I guess Toyota would be the biggest company we have left this week. Disney would be a close second, of course. But we'll see what happens with these, with the earnings this week. I don't think, in my opinion, any of the earnings is going to really have a say on the market. Like, again, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Google, they'd had in the prior couple of weeks. But again, time will tell. Coming back to the market, there's not really much to say here. Let's see if we go ahead and pull up the 1 minute chart. I mean, it's literally been, after we had that little bit of a rally when the Richmond and the New York Fed presidents were speaking, it's been pretty neutral. Again, it's been pretty neutral for most of the day, not a huge range. There's just not much to drive the market right now. So it's going to take either some, good news or some bad news either way to really kind of make the market move one direction or the other. Lately, of course, in my opinion, we have seen more bad news than good news. And ultimately, I do think that, again, we'll go down to that 480 level. Okay, I know I've been saying it a bunch. I'm probably sound like a broken record. But again, if tomorrow's candle is a nice big green candle, then I'm going to have to swallow my pride. I'm going to say, hey, I was wrong. The market does just want to go higher. People are ignoring the bad news and they just continue to buy the market. Now, personally, I think that they're ultimately going to be setting themselves up for failure, because I think the higher the market goes right now, especially with stagflation on the horizon, the higher the market goes right now, the bigger the pullback can potentially be. And that could have a lot of, what would be the best way of saying it? That could cause a lot of pain in the market and in the economy. So I really do hope that we have this pullback. It's not even for my own portfolio. It's literally for the market and the economy, because I want to continue to see everything growing. But until, the Fed is able to get inflation to a point where it is a little bit more at a likable number, I just don't see how it can continue to go up without having those dire consequences. So we'll see what happens the rest of this week. I'm really curious to see how the market reacts to this little itty bitty green bar. Again, we gapped up and continue to move up a little bit, but again, it's not a massive green bar by any means. If we go down here and look at the volume as of right now, with 20 minutes left to go in the day, the trading day, that is extremely low in terms of volume. So, that just tells me there's not a lot of people doing much today. The market's waiting for something to move it up or move it down. We'll see what happens. But that being said, I don't really have anything else for you. I hope you're learning stuff as we go here, and I definitely hope you're taking everything into consideration that we're saying, and you're able to make some smart decisions. So that being said, hey, head over to tradingoptionsnetwork.com. Reach out to me if you have any questions. You can find my email there on the contact us. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions if you have a question. Also, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find us on there as well. So again, if you have questions, you definitely have ways to reach out to us. But that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. Turn on those notifications, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.